Hold on tight for the next hour. You're entering into a place, a zone called the alternative to the alternative media. It's a place, a special place where even truth seekers fear to tread.
All right, people, let's move like we've got a purpose.
Affirmative.
Okay, boys and girls, welcome back to the Monday edition of the Investigative Journal. Greg Anthony here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com. And this is a message to all globalists out there. Oh, there are many of them. Many youngsters in our country today are claiming that socialism is the answer. Do they know anything about the Vatican? No. Do they know anything about how this will lead to fascism? No. They remain ignorant in the halls of our educational system because it's a Jesuit educational system, never allowing them to express any other views or listen or tolerate them. So to you globalists, I just say have patience. Your world is coming, don't worry. Your heroes will not fail you in the Jesuit order. They will bring about a one-world government, one-world religion, and you can be satisfied that in the years to come, America will change its face, will no longer look like it does today, and you can go around saying, we were the ones that brought it about. Yes, and if you don't believe me, let's look at what's happening even in Congress now. You got freshman congressmen on the Democratic Party coming in now, openly stating that socialism is the answer. They're radicals, and socialism will bring about freedom in America. It will bring about everything but freedom in America. Freedom relies only in one thing: your expressibility to express yourself and to lead people into a direction that is yours. That's freedom for you. No one can think any way else. If you have a divergent opinion about socialism, about inclusiveness, bring the whole world here and we'll pay for it. That's the way it should be. Oh, we don't need cars anymore. We don't need anything to do with the way the world is today. We're going to be the first country that's going to outlaw all fossil fuels. And you know something? It's going to be a better world, and all you stupid people out there, like me and others who still think that there's another way to bring about a great world, and that is to have national sovereignty, actual countries with borders. So that, you know what, when you get bored in your country, you can take a trip and live the way they do, as they do. When you're in Rome, do as the Romans. When you're in Greece, do as the Greeks. Isn't it going to be a boring world when everything's the same? Where the hell are you going to go for fun? People, you globalists, you're creating a terrible world. And in fact, where are you going to go on Sunday for fun? Like I remember when I was searching out all the religions in the world, when I was younger and even stupider, I went to a different church every Sunday. I said, you know what? I'm going to go to a Black Baptist church and be entertained. Oh, it was fun, singing all those hymns and dancing with them, and people coming up to me and saying, wow, there aren't many white people in here. You must not be racist. I said, well, no, I grew up in Chicago. I know what racism is. Everybody black lives on the south side, white on the north side, and there's an intermediate zone where people who are white and black go and say, ooh, how's life on the south side? How's life on the north side? Can we come over to the north side? I'm just joking, but that's how way I grew up. In a racist, not a racist city, people, there's a few races here and there, but, somehow people like to live with their own kind of people. I am so fed up with people saying, white America is going to destroy, they don't want any brown people here. Well, what about, why do you lump every white person in the same category? I'm not Italian. I'm not Irish. I'm Polish. I'm different. And if anybody's been abused in this world, it's Poles. And do you think I can come out and say, you know something? Our country needs to have the first Polish president. So why can't I say that? And you know what they would say? Well, you're white. You're racist. I want a Polish president. I feel we should get rid of every Polish joke there is. You know why? Because it's racist. But if you take away laughter, which is what you're going to take away with this kind of push on political correctness, you can't say anything anymore. I heard the other day, it was a good one, you can't call a moron anymore. All you got to do is say, oh, who's that? Instead of calling that new freshman congresswoman Cortez a moron, you have to call her by her name, okay? Which is boring. So once you start taking away jokes, once you start taking away laughter, man, I grew up listening to Polish jokes, and do you think that I went to the ACLU and filed a lawsuit that I am being bullied at school? Because when I go, I hear the joke about how many Pollocks does it take to put in a light bulb? There were more Polish jokes than black jokes in my life that I ever heard. And did I ever complain? Hell no, I laughed right along with it. And you black people out there, laugh along with it too. And you homosexual people, if I want to make a homophobic joke, laugh along with it. If I want to make a joke about a transgender, you know, I'm going to make it. But you know what? That's not politically correct. You're going to be called a racist. Well, I'm pushing for a Polish president. And until I get that, I'm going to form a group, and we're going to go out and protest our life away. And I'm going to file a lawsuit, and I'm going to say, I can't wait for the globalists to get in power so that no one can ever criticize a Polish person again. Right. So that's what you got to look forward to, a sterile world where you can't laugh, you can't go to, what am I going to go to a comedy club for anymore? Unless I can really have fun and laugh at all these crazy jokes about all these stupid people who think they're homosexual when in fact all they're doing is getting on a political bandwagon. Yeah. Now what about all these people that are cross-dressing now? Hell. What is it? You're going to go out to a bar now when you're a kid and you got to say, do you think, you're looking at a person that's actually a woman and you're a man and you go, okay, I got to ask you a question first. Do you think you're a woman? And she goes, no, I'm a man. And I say, well, what were you born? She says, well, I was born as a woman, but I'm not. I mean, it could get complicated and stupid, couldn't it? What a world we're creating, where no one can have fun with anybody anymore. You can't say anything. All you can do is follow the liberal agenda. If you drive a car that uses gasoline, you're destroying the planet. Well, how about all these guys that are pushing, it's funny though, the people that push for global warming like Al Gore and all this stuff, they fly in private jets. They use more CO2 than we ever will use. And why is that? Because it's all BS. It's an agenda to lead you into fascism by stating that America has been evil. Well, we've done a lot of things, but I haven't, and I bet you most Americans haven't either. It's these crazy elite leaders that have. And you don't know what you're getting into, globalists, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to have a great world to look forward to. Oh, it's going to be so beautiful, one world, everybody can, they'll just come into America, go to live in Bolivia, go to live in this country, Africa, and it'll all be the same. Nothing different. Why travel? The reason people really want to travel is because they go, hey, I'd like to go see how the people in Norway really live and enjoy the differences. I want to go to, Central America and see how they live. I want to go to North Dakota and listen to the way they talk so much differently than me, and enjoy people in Minnesota who never go sitting on the beach, but like to go ice fishing. But it's all going to be the same. There's going to be no borders. There's going to be no cars anyway to get there, according to these people, if everything goes the way. But you're going to have a solar car that'll probably go about 20 miles before you have to plug it in. And how the hell are you going to walk to Minnesota? It's going to be a crazy world, but they're going to love it. No one can say anything but what they want you to say. No one can do anything but what they want you to do. No one, you know what? And you can have fun saying, wow, what a world we created. And it all started out with these young freshman congressmen now who are stating, one, America, we don't want money the way it is now. No, we don't want people to be pushing to be better. We don't want people, we want everyone to live off of the government dole. And that's really worked in other countries, hasn't it? I have a friend, this question was posed to, they call her OAC now. That's when you've reached status, when your name is never used. Alessandra Ocasio-Cortez, something like that, is now OAC. She's this 29-year-old Congress moron woman who sits there, and I tell you, she is a dumb, she's put in there by the Jesuits to push this liberal agenda. And God help us. There's more of them in there. There's more people in there that are doing this openly, you see. And then Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Trump, and all these older guys and women criticize them. Oh, we can't go. But that's where they want to go too. Yes, Trump wants to go there too, folks. I don't want to burst your bubble, but old Donald is not a nationalist. He's nothing but a stooge put in there to push nationalism, to the extent that they create this chaos now. But in the end, you globalists, you're going to win. How do I know that? Just I'm not going to look at Donald Trump's hand signals, his Freemasonry. I'm not going to look at all the Jesuits that work for him. I'm just going to look at his policies. The Republicans have been in power, the House, the Senate, and the presidency for 2 years, and they couldn't get rid of Obamacare, which is National Socialism, right? Which is socialism. Now, if they were true, that'd have been gone. They can't correct the borders. That's gone. So listen, it's all a ruse. They're not going to change. We're going to move towards a socialistic country. It's going to happen, you globalists, so just be patient. And, in the meantime, don't worry. Most people are going to get the drift and won't be able to speak anymore. There won't be any conservatives. And if there are, they are archaic. Look at these people. They actually thought America could work. Well, listen, this has been going on since the formation of America. America was designed to become what it is today. It's in moral decay. That's a normal thing. The government has taken over. The federal government has taken over. Socialism is on the doorstep. America is gone. There's no freedom of speech. There's no press anymore. Everything's moving your direction and you still complain. My goodness. But don't worry. Don't worry, globalists. It's all going to happen for you. Now, I did say, how do I know Donald Trump is a globalist but masquerading as a president who does not even think about, wants border control, wants to get rid of Obamacare? They don't get rid of it. They're never going to get rid of it. They just talk about it. And they create this chaos. Now, how do I know that? Because of what I just said. Obamacare's still there. The borders are porous as ever. More people are coming through. And that's exactly what they want. And it's never going to change. It's going to get worse for people who want to see something normal, right? But this ain't a normal world. And so, you globalists, I say again, this show is just for you. You don't have to worry. It's all going to happen. Just be calm. Don't worry. I'm never going to say moron again. But in the meantime, you better not say one stupid Polish joke, right? Once I hear that, I'm going to sue you. Yes, going to do that. And you know what? How do I know globalism is going to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you in just 1 minute. Okay, let's finish up this half hour. One thing I don't understand is why you globalists out there, I'm talking about from the levels of college campuses to the new congressmen to all of the people at the high levels of government finance, etc., don't give credit where credit is due. You never talk about the real founding fathers, some of the Jesuits involved. You never talk about the people behind the scenes who wrote the Patriot Act. Mr. Vin Dim at Georgetown University, writing it prior to 9/11. You never give credit to the people who are actually molding this globalization. I really am saddened over that. That's why I do this show. I want to give these people credit for what they're doing, changing the world in a great direction so that we no longer can call anybody morons. I can't call them morons. You know, I just have to give them their names, like Lorenzo Ricci, former Jesuit general Hans Kovenbach, Pope Pius XII, Pope John Paul II. Who else? Oh, Pope Francis. I can't call them all morons now. No, because I'd be ostracized. Because it's a one-world government, a one-world think tank. Everybody's got to think the same. And when we travel, I'm so saddened because I love traveling to new places. You know, that's why I'm going to spend the rest of my life traveling until they've really got this thing locked in. Because once you do that, you can't go anywhere. It'll all be the same. Great for them. Oh my goodness. You know what I was thinking the other day? What is going on with this idea that there's never going to be another World War III? This is a globalist plan. And I want to tell all my globalist friends, you're not giving anybody any credit. And let me explain why. This has been planned since 1870s, or even before that, to have a one world, to have a First World War, a Second World War, then a Third World War, then globalization in full. We got to get rid of a lot of people before this whole plan works. And hopefully you're not one of them, you globalists, but according to statistics, a lot of you little globalists out there are going to go down the drain just like me. Yeah. Because they say they don't need you anymore. Look, I was reading a report about artificial intelligence, and by the year 2030, we're going to lose over 400 to 8,000 jobs to robots and artificial intelligence. They won't need you anymore. So they got to have a war to get rid of you. What are you going to be doing? They don't want you just going into a coffee shop and there's no waitress in there and you just press a button, and then all the factory jobs, all these other jobs will be automatized. I don't even know if that's a word, but it sounds good. And they won't need you, so there's got to be a war. So you got to understand, you got to give credit where credit is due. Now the elite Jesuits and everybody, they know about it. They give credit where credit is due. There's a huge statue of one of their Freemason big shots, Mr. Albert Pike. You got to look into who he is. I mean, I know all about him, done shows about him. And I've probably forgotten more than many people know about him. But, you know, Albert Pike, they give him a statue in Washington. He's a big Freemason, Satanist. He supposedly wrote to Giuseppe Mazzini in 1871 regarding 3 world wars that were planned. Now, many people have said that this letter to Giuseppe Mazzini, now he's an Italian, and because I lived in Italy for 7 years, wanted to look in this. Years ago, I called the British Museum, and they said they never heard anything about it. Well, that's normal. Oh, you're going to oh, yeah, we had a document in here that predicts 3 world wars. Well, they're not going to tell you. So, a lot of people say it existed, it didn't exist. But just for fun and giggles, since, we still can speak a little bit, why don't we pretend it existed? Now, all of you that say it didn't, that's fine. Well, why did they got a statue of this guy up in Washington? when you read about Albert Pike and all the stuff he used to do and the books he wrote, he was a historical Masonic figure, 33-degree Freemason, occultist, Grand Master, creator of the Southern jurisdiction of the Masonic Scottish Rite Order, and wrote all these esoteric books, is talked about a lot with some of the great Satanists of our time. And they got a statue of him. All you globalists, how come I never hear you talk about him? So, following this letter, he wrote it to Mazzini, okay, supposedly. It said, following is apparently, here's some of the major extracts from it, okay? So, you globalists, I got 4 minutes here, so I want to go through it quickly. I can come back, I guess. I got another half hour. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow, the Vatican-led Illuminati, I add, overthrow the power of the czars in Russia, of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergencies caused by the agents of the Illuminati Vatican between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. Okay, that occurred. Okay. Now, if this letter did exist, I'm going to be very honest, it would be very interesting. And you globalists out there have a hero who's telling you how we're going to bring about your global world that you so talk about every day now. And if this did not exist and somebody made it up, it had to be a globalist anyway to scare the shit out of you. If you're not, then basically it's pretty easy to write what the First World War was about after it happened. I could do that. But maybe in the other half hour, I'll predict World War IV. Well, that assumes that after 3, there's going to be a world to have another one. But anyway, we're going to come back on the second half hour and talk about what Mazzini supposedly heard from Pike regarding World War II and III. And then we're going to go into one of my favorite subjects. I'm not going to tell you because otherwise you won't come back. I know people. You got to keep something, interesting so they come back and listen to you. And that's why I say it's going to be such a boring world, you globalists, to travel when every country's the same. Because they want a one-world government, right? A one-world, really, everybody doing the same thing. Nobody can say, oh, you're moronic, Greg, because you're Polish anymore. Thank God. Oh, my goodness. I've been hearing that my whole life. But anyway, all of you racists out there on the left, all you racists out there, stop calling white people all white. We're different. I'm Polish. There's Italians. There's Germans. There's, I am sick and tired of it. And I'm going to bring a lawsuit if I hear that one more time. So all you brown people out there and black people who think white people are all the same and racist, you're just a bigger racist by doing that. So there, we're even. Okay, we got a good show for you in the second half hour. And luckily, I'm not going to speak the whole second half hour, right? So come back to the Investigative Journal on First Amendment Radio. Go to my website at greganthonysjournal.wordpress.com. I have not updated it in a while, but you can get a lot of shows going back, 15 years. That'll keep you busy for a while. If you don't know anything about the Vatican-led New World Order, go to that. You need to learn that. Why? I don't know. But anyway, see you in 3 minutes on Investigative Journal.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app. for all of your mobile devices. Streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The following program is labeled dangerous and off limits by the supreme Jesuit command. But stand tall, people. Listen up, and you may just learn something.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening.
Okay, we're back. Let me finish this really quickly. We're talking about this letter sent supposedly, or maybe not, from Albert Pike to Giuseppe Mazzini in 1871, talking about the First, Second, and Third World War, 2 of which have occurred, third one on the horizon. Okay, so he said this in the letter, if you believe the letter was written, that Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. Okay? This war must be brought about so that the Nazism is destroyed and that the political system be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christianity, which would then be restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. Now, 2 things I want to add. At the end of the First World War, they created the League of Nations, which was an attempt at globalism. That didn't work well, so they started the United Nations, which is a real satanic, beautiful organization for you globalists. That's there right now. There is a seat empty, and that's seat number 666 is still in the United Nations, empty, waiting for the Pope to finally sit his ass down there. Check that one out. Now, the Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the Illuminati, I add Vatican-led, between the political Zionists and the leaders of Islamic world. Okay. The war must, now when we say political Zionists, okay, some people are going to say, listen, I call it Vatican-led New World Order. They call it whatever you want. The Jews, there's the Pope's court Jews, like the Knesset, just like our Congress. And then there's real Jews that don't know anything about it. So we can't just, these guys work together. The Vatican will use anybody, use any names to get the, they don't want any pressure or anybody knowing who the hell they are. And I'm trying to help you globalists understand who your bosses really are. And I don't get any credit for it. The war must be conducted, and this is the Third World War, in such a way that Islam, I say as a Vatican, Islam and, the Quran, just check out who wrote it. The Vatican's behind this. They needed an enemy back then. And this idea, when you start looking at the Quran and Catholicism, there's a lot of similarities, too many for it to be a coincidence. So Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and the political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Yeah. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the satanic atheist, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute one world government, one world order, origin of savagery, and of most bloody turmoil. And everywhere the citizens, obliged to defend themselves against a world minority of revolutionaries, will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and multitude and disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will form that moment, be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view, masquerading as the Messiah. The manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Beautiful plan for you globalists, isn't it? And that I took that, who wrote this? From the Illuminati Plan for World War III. Okay, the last few paragraphs there. Gerald Salente channel? Okay. So anyway, we all have had our ideas about what's going to happen at the end of World War III. The elites in the Vatican will say that the Messiah has come, will protect you, the one world government is beautiful, etc., etc. Well, I got an email just now stating, Greg, the reason that the world should be the same is that we want to go to space. We want to go to new planets that will be different, and we'll take you along with us. I'm not going to be here that long, but if I'm here, okay, take me. But unfortunately, I'm going to burst your bubble because there is no space, and there are no other planets like you talk about, so it's going to be boring. It's right here. That's it. Because the world is not a globe like you think it is, and this has got me to the point where I'm going to play this to stick it right up that person's you-know-what. Because he's a moron, thinking that NASA goes to the moon, and NASA blah, blah, blah. They're now going to go to Mars. Now China wants to go to the moon. This is all garbage. If you think you want the world all the same because you want to go into space and see new planets and I can go with you, I'd love to do it. It'd be fun, wouldn't it? But it's not there. So I'm going to burst your bubble and I'm going to play for you a flat earth documentary just for you so that you can see how crazy this has gotten. We're not only talking about control of your mind, control of freedom. People say, what's free in America anymore? Well, the only thing to think about is, do you feel free to say anything you want? No, you can't. And if you do, you'll be ostracized, you'll be marginalized, and it's only going to be for the globalist world, the ones who believe in all the things I talked about there. A carbon-free world, global unity, let everybody into the country, no more worries about capitalism. It's all going to be so beautiful. And then they say, we can go to space to get new things. We can see new things and explore in space. Well, You guys don't realize that you've been duped. And it's so ironic that it's from a Polish guy. Yeah. Mr. Copernicus, who said the world was round. And there's, heliocentrism. A world like, a globe. And then there's space, infinite space and gravity and all this garbage. Brought to you by a moron Pollock. Oh, I'm having a big laugh on you guys today. But anyway, let's listen to this to really tick off a lot of people. The Flat Earth Deception, Epic Deception, Flat Earth documentary. I don't know what they're going to say. But anyway, we'll get to at least listen to why is the world round or flat? They've got you so brainwashed, you don't even know what you're walking on, let alone how they're going to control your thoughts and your words and your actions and how you live, where you live, how much money you have. Let's go. Here we go.
Siri, is the Earth a ball? A ball? Heavens no. How could you live on a ball? That doesn't seem possible. The Earth is clearly flat.
Okay, it is. And it says sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed.
Science tells us that the Earth formed 4.6 billion years ago, after a Big Bang that created the known universe. This wild theory is widely accepted as fact, and it's mechanically repeated by most people due to the fact that it's what public schools teach to the kids without challenge. There is absolutely no possible way to determine whether or not an event took place that long ago. It's actually very strange that anyone would believe this nonsense. Mainstream science also tells us that life on Earth evolved into monkeys, which eventually evolved into us. There's only one huge gaping problem with the theory of evolution. We are not only missing one link between monkeys and humans, but we are missing hundreds, if not thousands, of evolutionary links. Maybe more. They want us to believe that one day we fell out of a monkey's ass and we landed on a spinning ball that's advancing through outer space at ridiculous speeds. We are being deceived.
Let's put it in perspective. They think they came from monkeys, okay? I don't care how many letters they have after their name. These guys go to school, they read books, they come out believing they came from monkeys, and then they have the audacity to say that we're the stupid ones. Listen to what they have to say.
In the beginning, there was darkness, and then bang, giving birth to an endless expanding existence of time, space, and matter. Every day, new discoveries are unlocking the mysterious, the mind-blowing, the deadly secrets of a place we call the universe.
It is, of course, a mystery as to why the universe exists in such an intelligible manner, but it suggests to me, at least, that there's a deep link between the universe, the grand scheme that's unfolding, and beings like ourselves. Somehow the universe has become self-aware. It's engineered the emergence of comprehending, thinking beings like ourselves who can come to know the universe.
Some people marvel at the fact that the universe has, over billions of years, given birth to beings who can appreciate its complexity. We can even ponder where and how we fit in. But at the dawn of history, people thought they knew the answers to these profound questions.
The ancients viewed their world as a snow globe. It was essentially a flat Earth, say a disk, covered by a dome. And we call this in English a firmament. And in the firmament is where all the stars and the planets were hung.
Almost all ancient cultures believed their universe existed in a dome similar to this one. And they never questioned who created it.
The ancients assumed that there was a god or gods responsible for the creation and the maintenance of the universe.
The idea that God created the universe went largely unchallenged until the Middle Ages, when scientists made a sacrilegious suggestion based on their observations. The sun, not the earth, was at the center of the universe.
It was a paradigm shift. There is now another way to explain the naturally occurring phenomena around us, and this is science.
Since the Middle Ages, scientists have developed sophisticated new theories about the enormity of the universe and our place in it. Theories that often have no room for God.
Many phenomena have appeared mysterious or miraculous or magical. And then through the process of science, we've eventually understood them. Scientists gradually realized that the sun really is just one star among a multitude of stars in a gigantic galaxy having hundreds of billions of such stars. And all this was created in a Big Bang 13.7 billion years ago.
But while scientific theories, observations, and experiments tell us where we are in the cosmos, they don't answer the eternal questions: why we're here, and who, if anyone, created us. So while it appears a divine creator planned the universe, many physicists say apparent fine-tuning doesn't prove anything of the sort. Something else must be at work. But what, other than God, could possibly explain the remarkable series of events that led to the creation of life in our universe? One very popular contender is an idea that seems at least as incredible as the idea of God. It's the multiple universe theory.
A very large number of universes, perhaps even an infinite number, could in principle exist in a vast hyperspace.
We can understand the idea of hyperspace by comparing it to a mug of beer.
The beer mug would be the hyperspace, and the bubbles would be these individual universes. The bubbles in a beer mug are all physically about the same. But suppose they span a range of properties. Some of them might have carbon, oxygen, and stars and gravity, and others don't. We would be in one of the ones that leads to a rich, complex universe culminating with life as we know it.
If there are an infinite number of other universes, the fine-tuning that seems to be present in ours isn't an example of God's plan, but rather the law of statistics. Most of these universes wouldn't naturally develop in ways that fostered intelligent life, but a few would.
So then the explanation for the specialness of the universe is that we are winners in a gigantic cosmic lottery. It stands to reason that we couldn't be living and discussing this in a universe that was hostile to life. Only the bio-friendly ones get populated with thinking beings. Having a multitude of universes is actually quite a simple and natural consequence of some of the most favored models for the birth and early evolution of our universe. It's kind of like stars and planets. As long as you have the capacity to make one, it's easy to make lots of them.
Oh, really?
Evolution isn't the only thing we are being lied to about. The Earth under our feet has been molded into a spinning ball that is a byproduct of the Big Bang, which is a theory that was introduced to science in 1931. In order for the theory of evolution to be reasonable, the Big Bang that was somehow pinpointed to 13.7 billion years ago has to be true. In the Big Bang cosmology, the Earth is a rotating sphere orbiting around the Sun. The issue is that the motion of the Earth has never been detected, and here we are in the year 2016 looking for the curvature of our world, which also can't seem to be measured. Mainstream science using theory after problematic theory to try and prove another theory isn't science at all. Real science will reveal a stationary Earth that's turning out to be quite flat, with the Sun that's much closer than we are told. Despite what you hear, flat earthers aren't anti-science at all. We just don't condone what mainstream science has become, and that's a faith-based religion swarming with lies and ludicrous theories that have never been proven. Also, This reemergence of the Flat Earth has little to do with the Flat Earth Society. If you have the desire to further look into this, don't check for answers on their website. Some of the claims made by the Flat Earth Society are decent, while others are absurd. This is a common ploy to encourage no further investigation by the controlled opposition known as the Flat Earth Society.
It's a commonly held misconception that the Earth is a spherical object that revolves around the Sun. But the fact is, of course, that the Earth is a circular dish surrounded by a barrier of ice that explorers have been attempting to penetrate for centuries.
What if gravity isn't real? What if the Earth is in fact flat and science has been wrong all along?
Everything that you've been taught is a lie.
We're shown that and told that's the solar system, that's the way it works. You've got the big sun in the middle and all the planets revolve around it, but nobody's ever seen that. We've never seen a photograph of it. We've never seen real part. We've certainly never seen any animation of it, even though there's supposedly a probe out in Pluto at the moment. Nobody's ever seen the solar system like this. It's always graphics, it's always secondary knowledge.
Things that people hold dear and call fact, like gravity, like the age of the universe formation itself, the age of the Earth, they're all dependent on things that are unproven. While they're good to consider, we should consider everything. You have allowed them to become facts that appear in our textbooks taught by professors to kids as facts.
The argument, for all practical purposes, came to an end when the Church of England was established by law during the 16th century. They embraced many radical scientific notions prevalent at the time, including Copernicus' round Earth theory. With this endorsement, the theory found its way into the schools, which were then largely controlled by the Church. It has remained there to this day, and many children have accepted it without question.
All seeing eye and the square of compasses. Here we have Buzz Aldrin, the second man, supposedly that walked on the grey dust of Cupid's film set. Showing off, they don't try and hide it, it's amazing. There's his Masonic ring, he's got his Shriner hat there. And these guys, yeah, they're supposedly praying to the command module. Looks like a pyramid to me. The connection between Ron L. Hubbard, or L. Ron Hubbard, who started the Scientology movement, Walt Disney, Werner von Braun, rocket scientist, Jack Parsons, also a rocket scientist, Jet Propulsion's laboratory, and Aleister Crowley, who's obviously an art Satanist, influenced a lot of rock music and everything else. Started the OTO, the Ordo Tempora Orientis. These guys are all connected. They're all in the same brotherhood. The connections between, well, here you go. Jack Parsons, the JPL was how obviously NASA got into the air in the first place, the Jet Propulsion's laboratory. Here's Jack Parsons at a Masonic ceremony. You can tell by the floor. And again, you can look into this for yourself. Yeah, it's easily searchable. It's easily researchable information. The connection between Walt Disney. Here we have aboard the ISS. Again, now we're getting into the handshakes. And we've got Baphomet all doing it. Yeah, we've seen Bill Clinton do that, Bush, and all these guys give you that. We know what that means.
Yeah, they're showing pictures of the astronauts all huddling together like in a football huddle, giving the Baphomet horn signal signs with their fingers. Okay, that's what they're doing.
We know who they're in service to. This is all about occultism. It's all about sun worship, heliocentrism. It's not science. It's a religion. It's faith. This is Helios. This is Helios, the sun god. And here he is on the badge of Apollo 13. This is all occult religion going all the way back through all Egypt and then back through to Babylon as well.
Life is much simpler on a flat plane. There's no complex theories or complicated mathematics involved in it. The flat plane. There's sea level is level. Everywhere you go at sea level it's sea level. There's no bending. There's no bending the ocean around a spinning ball. It's level. It's water finds its level and it maintains. You can't bend it around a ball.
This idea, these facts, they're facts resonating with people all over the world, is not an accident. It's not a coincidence. That is the hardest part for you guys to understand. The people that argue with me, that want to make me feel like a fucking idiot, that's not you talking. That's your ego talking. You have to convince yourself verbally to somebody who is challenging your own beliefs to make yourself feel better and to help you sleep at night. The flat earth is a perfect example of that. You refuse to look at the information. It's stupid. Well, why is it stupid? Well, it just is. Every little thing that you've brought up, all of you, can be refuted and explained differently, but you refuse to see that. You refuse to look at it. That makes you ignorant. That is the definition of ignorance.
So how does Hollywood brainwash you? Well, one way is like this. They begin their movies on a globe and then they zoom in to whatever the first scene is. Real clever way to brainwash you in the very first scene of any movie you see. Universal Studios is so bad they use this goddamn globe as their logo, as their intro to every single movie that they make. At the beginning of every single movie Universal makes, you're going to see this spinning globe logo.
Okay, no more time. We'll be back tomorrow on the Investigative Journal. Don't miss it.
The book of Revelation says, "The spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ." This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.